what was that about leaving your wallet in the car?
I forgot it in my car.
For
so.
a movie that starts at 7:50 and it's the preview started at 7:50.
Okay, well, I came on such short notice, so.
I'm so sorry that this review is late. I won't keep this intro long. I love Western movies, especially the original Magnificent Seven, which in of itself is sort of a remake of Seven Samurai, which is a super awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, I mean, it's just phenomenal in every way.
That's good. I don't know anything about this movie. I don't know who's in it. I don't know who directed it. I don't know. I've never seen the remake, never seen the original, nothing.
Well, this is the remake. This is...
Oh, yeah, okay, well, I've never seen the original.
But my favorite all-time Western movie is definitely Tombstone by far, but this one was pretty good.
I thought you were going to say The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
That one's very iconic, and that's a close third to me. Am I expecting this to hold a candle to it? Abso-fucking-lutely not. I mean, Chris Pratt's in it, Denzel Washington's in it.
Oh, Star-Lord? Is it? Okay. Yeah. No, I'm interested now. Oh. Zookeeper from Jurassic World.
Shut the fuck up. Was it worth missing the Steelers game, Tarek?
Oh. No, I'm sorry. Nothing is worse. Nothing is worth missing my Steelers play. But I still really liked this movie.
I thought the movie was great. You know, in an age where everything's getting remade, you know, for better or for worse. Ghostbusters. It's nice to see a great remake. You know, it. Don't get me wrong when I say this. I mean, the original Magnificent Seven and even the Seven Samurai will always have that magic that can never be fully recaptured. But as far as remakes go, I think this is one of the better ones I've seen in a long time.
Sure. I mean, I've never even seen the original, so I have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah. I want to keep this as spoiler-free as I can because I really want anyone to be able to see this movie, and I feel like anyone can.
True, they can.
You know, briefly talking about the plot, town is pretty much controlled by this man who has a lot of money. His name's Bogue. And, you know, the simple farmers just want their lives back. They want their town back.
Yeah, and they hire...
He's kind of a piece of shit.
He is a piece of shit.
He's a very big piece of shit. He burns down a church, you know?
Yeah.
He's literally doing Birmingham a good 100 years before Birmingham happened. What an asshole.
Right.
So, Denzel Washington is informed about this man, and he builds his own little army, his Magnificent Seven, including Chris Pratt,
Ethan Hawke, Asian dude, this old guy who talked funny, the Indian, I can't remember
the
names very
American.
well. Native American.
Well,
sorry.
that is a problem with the movie. They spend a lot of time with like Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt. The other characters might not get as much development as the others, but I don't really find that big of a deal, to be honest.
True. I mean, I kind of did because, like, I wish they would have given, like, for example, the Indian a little bit more to do than look pretty with a bow and arrow. If you know what I mean? But
more on him in a second. So they get this little militia together to fight off Bogue's army, and they work. They drive off, you know, the few dozen people that are there. I think they said it was like 20, maybe.
Something like that. A lot of guys. We'll just say that.
Yeah. I mean, it's really just kind of a traditional Western movie. You know, in fact, it's very traditional, surprisingly, but it still has like a new sort of fresh take on the Western genre. And Bogue finds out, you know, his men has been driven out, so he sends 200 men, I think they said, like, to come back to this town with all the force he has, and shit just goes down. It is very entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Like, there was really no point in the movie where I just wanted to get out of my seat
and
like,
leave.
Even though I think it was like almost 2 hours long, or maybe longer. I mean, obviously Western movies are pretty long, but
I think this is some of the best pacing that a movie in 2016 has had for me this year.
Right.
You know, because even though I felt like the movie was long, there were like parts in it, even in the slow parts, because every movie has a slow part that I like to quote. It didn't feel like it was dragging.
No, it didn't.
You know, like there's a scene where they're all like in a, like a saloon. You know, they're just drinking away, you know, chatting it up. You know, it's kind of just filler, and it's still really fun.
It still is. You know, these guys gotta, you know, kind of
Like,
get
interact
along
with
and
each other.
interact.
You can't, you know, it can't be Fantastic Four. You can't just have four characters that don't interact and expect them to, you know,
Yeah, team up in the end.
team up in the end and have people care about them, you know.
Mm.
This movie does a really good job at, like, you know, making these people feel like a team. Like, they actually like each other. And as the audience members, these characters are so goddamn likable. Like, there's not a single one I didn't.
True, like, especially the main two characters, Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt, they really get a lot of time to shine.
They stole the movie. Like, they literally did. You know, I can never say his last name. Vincent D'Onofrio.
I have no idea.
He was the Daredevil's Kingpin. He was Kingpin in Daredevil.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's the only person I would want to see in an over-the-top role, and I heard in this movie, like, you know, he was great as an over-the-top role, but he really wasn't that over-the-top. I thought, you know, his voice just kind of looked.
I mean, he did kind of go a little mad when he was, like, stabbing people, which, that's the thing with this movie. You can tell it's PG-13. They censor, in a way, like, a lot of PG-13
There's not
reboots.
a lot of blood, pretty much.
Yeah. Where they kind of just censor the violence a little bit with traditional PG-13.
You know, and we even saw, like, little kids in there, you know, because we live in 2016 with The Walking Dead, where bodies get split in half and you see guts spilling out.
Yeah.
A little kid's not gonna give a fuck if someone gets shot and you see, like, dust come out of their fucking body instead of, like, blood. The Asian character Billy, wow, that fell. Billy, the Asian character in the movie, you know, he was kind of, you know, quiet, but he was that strong, silent quiet. And whenever he just had a little moment, he was great.
Is this the part where we first meet him, his introduction? You takes his belt off, takes the hat off, like, well, what's he gonna do? He surprises you.
Yeah. Like, he's in this, you know, like, brawl with this one other dude, you know, for money. And the other dude's just not having it. It's like, that's bullshit. I won. I want him to face off in a real duel with me. So Billy takes off his belt. He just stands there. And the guy, like the ref guy, is like, you know, on my mark. He shoots. Fucking Billy takes like a pin out of his hair and throws it at the dude. And
faster than he can shoot a gun.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, he's a really cool character. And I think the reason why they had him, like, important in this movie, or, like, why his character mattered, was because during this time, I think it's called the Yellow Fear, where it was like, you know, white America had a fear of Chinese people. So, you know, when they came over, you know, we pretty much imprisoned them, you know, enslaved them, you know, like, traditional slaves would be black. I mean, these Chinese people, you know, made railroads, you know, just hard labor. And to see him as a cowboy, you know, and just strike fear into the other white bad guys is just really cool.
It is. Let's see, what else is there to bring up? So,
getting back to the Native American guy, and this is just one of the problems I had with some of the character development. Very, very minute. I mean, you could consider this nitpicking, but he really didn't have a lot to do in this movie, you know? Pretty much he's the last one to get recruited, and unless he's, like, holding an arrow, I mean, he's just not in the movie.
He is. Like, they just kind of show him for a few shots, but that's kind of it. Yeah.
Like, I mean, there were times I totally forgot, like, oh, yeah, he's in the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, he's in the group, and then...
Yeah. You know, because, like, even when they're hanging out, like, I don't even know if I saw him. There's, like, one time, like, where they're all together, and you see him in a few shots. Like, the camera pans, and you see, you know, the Asian character, you see Ethan Hawke's character, you see Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt, and then it cuts to him, and then back to the other group, and you just barely see him.
Right.
I mean, pretty nitpicking. Like, I thought he was cool, you know, when he was in the movie. And I really like what they did with Ethan Hawke's character, you know. I don't like Ethan Hawke that much. I think he really, really fucked The Purge for me, even though he was probably one of the best parts about that movie. just the thought of Ethan Hawke being in a Purge movie was just...
Okay.
But honestly, I really liked him in this movie.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Like, at first I thought they were trying to set up to where, his name's Goodnight, because of the legend around him. And I thought they were going the route that, oh, maybe he's not, like, a legend. Maybe that's all just fake, and maybe he made it up, because you see him holding a gun about to shoot someone, and he just can't do it. And Chris Pratt's character even brought it up one time, where he's like, if you're so good, show these people that you can shoot that target. And that's where I thought they were going to go with that, that he was going to admit, like...
yeah, that's what I thought, too, and then he shot it. I was like, yeah. Oh. Huh.
But what they did, it was really clever, and I really liked it. They made it about, like, PTSD, and Denzel Washington's character, like, talks to him and says, the war is over for both of us, and Ethan Hawke's character is just, no, it's not over, the killing hasn't stopped, and, it's just driving him nuts. Because PTSD really, really is shitty. Like, if you ever know someone with PTSD, like, it's horrible to see what they go through.
Mm-hmm.
And that just adds a layer to, these characters that may or may not have enough character development on their own. And it was just really nice to see that.
Right. Something that, even like something I thought that they were going to do, they just went completely different with it. Mm-hmm. And it kind of surprised me a little more.
But you know what makes up for the character development in this movie for me?
Who?
The fucking cinematography. Like, there are so many gorgeous shots. Like, Anton Fuqua, is just he masters these shots. They are just beautiful shots, and I could watch, like a slideshow of just
like all the
the backgrounds like he films. Like, it's breathtaking. Like, and I really think that needs praise.
It does. I liked it too, and I also like the music that he set along with it.
Personal story.
Okay.
When I was in the Indiana Youth Wind Symphony with Matt Wilson, the last song we played was Magnificent Seven.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was really, really nice to hear that nostalgic, like, in the credits,
Mm-hmm.
like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for me, but with Magnificent Seven. Yeah. The cinematography is just phenomenal. The action sequences, oh my god, they are fucking great. They are so entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as soon as, someone grabs their gun, you're like, and your mind's just blown.
You're just waiting, like you're ready for it.
Yeah.
There's like two pretty big shootouts.
Yeah.
There's one like in the middle of the movie, which is really awesome, and then there's one at the end of the movie, which is like a whole bunch of guys, and it's just all out war.
Yeah. Like, I love superhero movies. Like, I mean, I will always love superhero movies, and people like Steven Spielberg, have brilliant filmmaker. Don't get me wrong when I say that. He believes that superhero movies one day will reach a saturation point to where they'll die out like Western movies. Maybe so. Trends happen, trends not. But it's stuff like this makes me feel like, these trends will never die, because we get a great Western movie like this. And you think to yourself, is the Western genre really dead?
Maybe just not as popular anymore, but I don't think any really genre is dead. I mean...
Yeah, and this final shootout is just as entertaining as, the airport scene in Civil War.
I think I like the airport scene a little more, maybe because of bias, but it's
definitely bias, I mean, who in their fucking mind wouldn't want to see, Spider-Man take Captain America's shield out of his hands, or, Ant-Man on Hawkeye's arrow, that was a dream come true.
It was, and it had a little more comedy to it, too.
But I think the reason why, like, superhero movies are so, like, people are worried about their saturation point and stuff, is because that's all we're given, pretty much. If you think all that, action blockbuster movies we've gotten this year, it's literally been Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Warcraft, superhero movies, Independence Day Resurgence, and Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And Star Trek, yeah. And Star Trek.
Okay, Star Trek was good, though.
Mm-hmm. But, like, that falls into, like, a different... I won't talk about that. But, I mean, superhero movies, for the most part, are pretty much all we get, other than, like, Transformers. So, of course, they're going to get oversaturated at a point, so it's really nice to see a Western movie be just as entertaining as those sorts of movies.
It is. It is. Of course, the last Western movie I saw was The Lone Ranger, so...
Oh my god. What a shit show.
So I think that's why I really like this movie. And then before that, I saw A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Okay, that one does not count as a Western movie. That is a comedy, and it's not even funny. My mom loves the shit out of that movie, and I don't know why.
I laughed at like 2 parts in that movie. I laughed more in The Magnificent Seven than I laughed at The Million Ways to Die in the West. And that's sad, because I love Seth MacFarlane, but...
There is, like, actual, like, good humor in this movie, It's not written for jokes. Like, the humor is so natural. You'd expect Chris Pratt to be, whipping out zingers here, making fun of you. He really does it. He's just, he's a snarky kind of asshole.
But you love him for it.
I know. Like, you just love all these characters, and it's so cool to see them fight together. And you feel a real sense of, like, heroism with them. Even though they're not really that great of heroes.
They're really not, but they don't need to be. This isn't like a Superman or whatever. So.
But I think my favorite character in this movie was Denzel Washington's character. I just fucking love Denzel Washington. Can we just take a moment and appreciate this dude?
Yes.
Like, everything he is in, he is just gold.
I haven't seen too many of his movies, so...
Oh, they're fucking great. Just go on IMDb and look at all the movies Denzel Washington's done and just watch them all. Just the way he looks, when he's in the cowboy hat. Oh, it's just so intimidating and awesome. And talking about the villain Vogue, when... Spoiler alert, in case you were surprised that the villain doesn't get his comeuppance at the end. It's so fitting, because at the beginning of the movie, he burns down the church. And where does he go, to meet his end? Like, right where he, gave his announcement at the beginning before burning it down.
Yeah, right.
I think that was very intentional, and really cool.
Nice.
But this is where we learned most about Denzel Washington's character, was in that moment. He had a family. And they were killed by this dude. And, while I was watching the movie, I was thinking, why does Denzel Washington hate this dude so much? The movie never explained it until the very end, pretty much. And I was like, oh, okay.
He's got a little...
So I almost complained about it, and the movie saved itself. Like, it was aware that I was going to. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks for that.
What?
Our allergies are driving us fucking nuts.
I'm sorry.
I hate Indiana weather. Like, it really is truly awful.
But this movie isn't.
This movie made up for Indiana's allergies, so which is why I have no problem giving...
Wait. Do you have any flaws, by the way, you want to point out? Things you didn't like? Yeah.
At the very beginning of the movie, when they were in the church, there were different characters talking to each other, and I think it might have been the way it was edited. It was just really confusing to tell who was speaking, and, I felt like a lot of it was reshot.
Probably.
But,
yeah, it's a little...
I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel for that one.
For me, I did not like the villain, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't either. I just like seeing him get his comeuppance.
True, but to me, he just felt like a mustache-twirling villain, and he pulled, this biggest cliche that's in so many movies where, one of his henchmen or whatever was like, I'm so sorry, because... that I failed you or whatever. Oh, then he shoots him, which is in every movie.
I think this movie in of itself is sort of a cliche, but it's done in a fresh way to where I can't really complain about it.
I guess.
I'm too entertained to care if it's been done before.
True, but I wish they didn't pull that cliche.
The villain just wasn't really developed that much, but, in a Western movie, they never really are.
I haven't seen too many Westerns, so I guess I can't.
Tombstone is by far the best. It will always be the best Western.
Alright.
What are you going to give Magnificent Seven?
It'd be kind of funny if I gave it a 7 out of 10, but I think it deserves more than that. So, I'm deciding between 8 or a 9. Well,
I know what I'm going to give it.
You know what? Not only was it an entertaining movie, but the movie theater itself, the seats, man. Oh my god, the seats.
Now I know why Matt and Brittany would always come to this movie theater, and Matt would always send me pictures of Brittany giving him head. Because, like, they recline. They recline. It was great. You could just get head while you're watching Magnificent Seven.
Well, I was eating my nachos while watching Magnificent Seven reclining, but yeah, sure, okay. We all do our things we like. Anyway, so because of that, I'm giving this movie a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10? I'm right with you.
Yep.
With our consensus of 9 out of 10, I feel like Matt now getting a blowjob from Brittany because this movie's blowjob from God! Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so fucking happy. I saw a good movie. I
mean, you saw, Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah.
Great. I've never saw that, but well, oh yeah, we did recently see Blair Witch, which wasn't good. Yeah.
So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I am the Psychedelic Mystic, and Tarek started doing game reviews.
Ludicrous shows. Okay.
Follow, subscribe to him. Get your fucking ass back in here.
Well, don't
Get
touch
your
me.
fucking ass back in here, Tarek. Get your fucking ass back in here. Look at the camera and tell him to subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Subscribe to me and him and us.